Hey, YouTube, it's Mr. Mean coming at you from very sunny Duluth, Minnesota. I'm going to make some changes here. I apologize. I should have done this before I got it all hooked up, but it's just sitting too low. So, pardon the shaky cam. Ooh, special effects. Hey, Feral Games, Mr. James is online here. There we go. Ah, that's much better. I'm going to include a link to this here. If you're a D&D or a 5th edition fan and you haven't checked this product out yet, you should do that. This is the Dungeon Master's Toolkit by Nerzugals. This guy has published a bunch of stuff under the not the Creative Commons license, but the SRD for D&D, and he's done a lot of cool stuff. I bought this. I happened upon it. I get the signups from DriveThruRPG for the GM's stuff for 5th edition D&D. The DM's Guild. Matt Mercer puts a bunch of stuff up there every so often, and I try to pick up his stuff when I can. And I ran across this, and I saw that they were making it available as a hardback, and it's got over 40,000 individual downloads. This is well done, guys. This is a fan just like you and I. We don't include James in this from Feral Games Inc. because he's a professional publisher. So you don't count, buddy. You're big time. We're little guys. Thanks for watching, James. Appreciate it, man. And best of luck with the Ghost Ops are going out to everybody. So I hope everybody gets theirs. And he says, I wish. You are a professional, man. Don't sell yourself short. But anyway, James is he's the owner and operator of Feral Games Inc. And he is today is his release of his Ghost Ops, which is a really cool special forces military type RPG. Go check it out. It's on Kickstarter. It's wrapping up. Well, I think it's already wrapped up, right, James? And now the PDFs are going out to the backers. The physical books are, I'm sure, still months away. They're probably on a slow boat from China. But anyway, we'll talk about that later when I get James on the show to talk about that stuff and some other projects he's got going. And it'll be available on DriveThruRPG, James says. So, woohoo! So let me put here in the chats. Woot! I know some people come back and read the chats before they watch the video. But today we're going to talk about Nerzugals Dungeon Master Toolkit. It's on DriveThruRPG under the GM's thing. I included a link there to the DM's Guild. It's pay what you want for the PDF copy. I believe I paid $25 or $29 for this. I want to say $25. I don't remember. And I got it. I don't know. It took about a week. It took about a week to get here because, DriveThru has to send it off to be printed, and then it comes back, and they mail it directly to you. I don't have any problem with PDFs. I love PDFs, but I'm a hard. You get my goat when you send me a hardback book or you make your books available in hardback. To me, it's the way to go. They last longer. I can print a PDF, and I'm sure you can print it multiple times, but not everybody has access to a good quality laser printer or inkjet. Nowadays, with these game books getting to be 300, 400, 500, 600 pages long, Zweihander, I'm looking at you. Infinity RPG from Modiphius, I'm looking at you. Conan RPG, I'm looking at you. These books are just getting huge, and it costs a lot of money to print them. And if you're going to do that on an inkjet especially the Infinity, if you've seen the Infinity RPG, go check it out. If you haven't, you can buy it now from DriveThru. It's on DriveThru as a PDF. It's like close to 600 pages, and it's full color. It would destroy. You'd probably actually have to buy another inkjet printer because you'd probably wear out the first one. But anyway, hopefully you don't do that. And I don't know if they're going to make a print-friendly version. I backed the Kickstarter. I got all my PDFs. I didn't see a print-friendly version, but at 500-600 pages, that's just not print-friendly. At home. You need to buy the book. PDF's good for reference. But anyway, Nerzugals. makes these books available. He's had, I'm just going to give you the blurb here on the back where it all began. Nerzgal's Dungeon Master Toolkit is where my adventure in creating custom content for the D&D community began. In the years since its release, it has been downloaded by over 40,000 individuals, and I am thrilled to have it finally available in book form for all to enjoy. Within the pages of this book, you will find 8 D100 benefit detriment tables to create a nearly unlimited number of strange, interesting magic items to give your players. These could be boons as simple as a +1 to a weapon or as powerful as summoning a metallic dragon wormling to aid you in combat when initiative is rolled. Further in the book, you will find 6 one-shots that you can throw at your players to provide a contained adventure that is typically able to be completed in a single session. Can your players' minds handle the horrors of the Golgoroth, a blind frog demon that has turned the people of a nearby town into twisted abominations? Can they endure the trials within Dromar's tomb and retrieve the powerful artifact that awaits at its end? 4 dungeons provide an interesting set of challenges that can be dropped into nearly any setting. Unlike the one-shots, they have no story arc surrounding them and are simply places of interest filled with monsters, traps, and puzzles to challenge your group. Can your players solve the riddles of the ancient turtle that dwells in the submerged caverns? Will they choose to recharge the mechanical entities that lie dormant deep within the Tinker's laboratory? In addition, a dozen puzzles will test your players' minds as they confront the logical dragons or choose if they wish to gamble with the cards of fate. It is a pleasure to create these dungeons, one-shot magic items, puzzles, and creatures for the community, and I sincerely hope you enjoy the content. If you are interested in updates and previews of my future works, you can follow me on Twitter at Nerzgal. So this is the book. That was the back of it. It is spiral bound. It's black and white. It's mostly all text, as you can see. He's got ciphers in here. He's got all kinds of puzzles. Kind of like reminds me of the old 4th edition D&D, how the stuff was laid out. And I can tell you the D100 charts in here are phenomenal, really well done. Very cool stuff if you want to make a magical item or you want to give a player a boon and you don't have anything pre-done right off the bat. You can just roll a D100 or have the player roll a D100 and then boom, you got it. I see someone else has joined the video here. Feel free to ask questions. Welcome aboard. So what do you get for your $25 if you do a physical print? You get 111 pages of goodness, and it is chock full. It goes through, he gives a nice little introduction here. naturalcrit.com with the home brewery. If you guys haven't seen that, go to naturalcrit.com. It allows you to write your scenarios, your adventures, your GM stuff in the format that WotC uses for their Dungeons and Dragons books, which is kind of cool. So that's what he did here. So that's why it looks like the 4th edition books with the charts and everything. Let's see. Let me try to find one. Let me find some creature stats. There's not a lot of art in the book, so if you're looking for a splat book with a lot of art, this is not the book for you. Looking for, I don't think he reproduces any creature stats. Of course, when I'm trying to find it now, I can't find it. Those are all the charts. I did read Dromar's Adventure, and I really liked it. In fact, I'm going to run it for my players because I just think it'll be super cool. And it'll give them, it's a good adventure. I think it's well written. And see, there's a dungeon and some notes. So it's done in like I said, the format of all the 5e books right now, uses the same fonts and the same layout. And you can go to that homebrewery.com and it's all HTML and you can type in your stuff and replace what's there on the screen. And then you can save it as a PDF, print it out, whatever you want to do. You could submit it to Drive-Thru-RPG under the DM's Guild, and if it gets accepted, boom, there you go. You have an official DM's Guild, which is a separate license. Doesn't mean you're licensed by WotC, just means that you've been approved and your stuff is somewhat official. So, like I said, not a ton of art in here. The cover it's a nice glossy hardback cover. It's spined. You can see it there. It's glued in there. I don't believe it's stitched. No, it's just glued. So you can see it's already coming off. I don't want to say it's coming off, but if you can look down there, you can see the gap in there. So basically, what's holding this book in is these pages are glued to the hardback part of the book, and so I don't know how much wear and tear it'll stay up to. For $25, I'm not too terribly upset, because if push came to shove, I could always just cut this binding spine off. I can't talk this one. I'm sorry, guys. Cut this spine off and just spiral bound it, and I'd still have my hardback part. But it's got some good stuff in it. So let's go over the table of contents. One of my followers on Discord, and I apologize, I'm going to botch your name, Azigatex, Azhigatex. He was asking to know if there's any additional information in here. I didn't download the PDF. It was pay what you want, but I didn't want to, I own the book, so I didn't want to get the PDF. But we'll go through the table of contents if he watches this later, or if he's tuning in right now. Maybe this will answer your question. So section A is random tables, random encounters, random item enchantments, benefits, and it goes lesser, medium, major, and legendary, which is awesome. So as your players get higher up in their levels, you can give them better gear that's more appropriate for their level. Then you have random item enchantments, detriment. So same thing, lesser, medium, major, and legendary, meaning they're bad things. And man, some of them are pretty nasty. Puzzles, we've got page 29 through page 39 is all different types of puzzles. There's cipher puzzles, there's word puzzles, there's almost like a math puzzle. It's pretty cool. So if you're into that kind of thing and your players like the different kinds of puzzles and stuff to challenge them, this is pretty cool. Section C covers one-shots from page 41 to 73, and it starts with Dromar's Tomb, which is from levels 1 to 3. Then it's the Ritual, which is levels 1 to 3. The Ruins of Yonti, which is levels 3 to 5. The Bog of the Hag, levels 3 to 5. Cult of Gal Garoth, levels 4 through 7. And the Ruins of Nektalosh, levels 4 through 6. Then section D is our dungeon maps, and that starts on page 78 to page 86. And it's a whole bunch of dungeons. Different maps, and there's no context given here. It's just dungeons. You fill it and do what you want with it. There's no backstory. It's just a dungeon populated with some critters and everything, and you just make your adventure how you want. And then the last section is section E, complete dungeons. These are dungeons by your levels. So you got the Gith Fortress, levels 4 through 6, the Tinker's Laboratory, levels 4 through 6, the Submerged Cavern, levels 6 through 9, and the Trial of Heroes, levels 6 through 9. And that's it. That takes you through all 111 pages of the book. And man, it's well done. It's like I said, just the D100 tables are amazing in and of themselves, because it's say let's go to medium beneficial effects. Let's say we roll a 27. While attuned to this item, you feel lucky. Once per day, you can re-roll an attack, saving throw, or ability check. Take the higher of the 2 rolls. So it's almost like having an advantage on all those rows once a day. And you could make this a one-time use item. You could make it, you just add it to whatever players find a necklace, and you roll on this table, and you get, it's a lucky necklace. Maybe it's the Traveler, for D&D. There's all kinds of stuff. Some of the detrimental stuff is pretty hilarious. Here's major detrimental. Let's say we rolled a 70. While attuned to this item, you feel sluggish and depressed when it rains. When it is raining, make your initiative rolls with disadvantage, and you may not take bonus actions. Dude, I mean, and I'm a big fan of, let's give the player, I don't mind. I guess you'd call it the Monty Hall theory. I don't mind giving players magical items at low levels, because I think when you have something like this, you can balance them out. So I could do that minor magical item and then add a detriment to it as well, and you could pre-make these. I'm a big fan of writing them out on 3x5 cards and saying what they are. I've even gone so far as to find a little bit of stock generic art. So like, say it's a sword, just find a generic, drawing of sword, import it in, I have various programs, but MS Paint, anything will do it. Put that picture of the sword on that card, and then fill in all your text and then print it out. So when the players find it, you give it to them, and they've got a visual representation of what this magic item is. It gives a little more immersion to the game. I've even gone so far as like I'll go to the Hobby Lobby or to thrift stores and just buy some junk jewelry. Just anything that like sticks out. I mean, some of this stuff you can get for like $1.50. One time I bought a bunch of rings at an estate sale. It was $5. There was about 20, I think it was 20 or 23 rings in there. And they were just various, what we would call, my generation would call grandma jewelry. Big rings with, big fake pearls on them or whatever. But hey, for a prop in D&D or any RPG, that works great. You just give that to the player with a card. You can even take a picture of it with your cell phone or whatever, your digital camera. You can take a picture of it, and you can give that to the players, write your text up, like I said, on a 3x5 card, and you can give that to your players. And now they've got a physical ring. Doesn't matter if it fits them or not. They've got a ring. They throw it in their dice bag, and it'll remind them every time they're playing the game, hey, I've got this ring of +1, initiative, except when it's raining. Then, I get no bonus to my initiative, and I don't get bonus actions, and I'm disadvantaged. Man, that's an awesome, cool little magical item that the player gets right then and there. So I see somebody else is watching too, so welcome aboard. We are talking about the Dungeon Master's Toolkit. This is available on DriveThruRPG. This is the hardback. I guess there's a PDF that was, and it's pay what you want. I included the link there in the chat. Chupa, hey, what's going on, sir? Or ma'am, I'm not sure. I think you're a sir. I think that's Peter Griffith there. So you've already won me over because I'm a huge Family Guy fan. Stewie is my hero. So this is the Dungeon Master's Toolkit. 111 pages, full of useful stuff. Again, just to have it in hardback with the D100 of the advantageous and beneficial and detrimental bonuses, that right there alone to me is worth the price of admission for this. As a PDF, pay what you want. You could pay $2-3 and you could download this. He's had over 40,000 downloads of this book. That's amazing. He's got 2 other books up as well, which he's got the Dungeon Master Toolkit number 2, and then he's also got Game Master's Toolkit, which is something a little different. And I'm actually down to get both. I love the cover art on the book. 5 dungeon one-shots, 10 puzzles, 100 new monsters. So that's for the Game Master's Toolkit, not to be confused with the Dungeon Masters. And then he has the Dungeon Master Toolkit number 2. And I think once I get some money, these are going to be on my list. They're pay what you want. I'd like to get them as hardbacks if I could, but we'll go with, I don't know if they're available in hardback. According to what I'm seeing right now, they're only available as PDFs. This one also comes with part 2 of this, comes with 5 dungeons, 5 one-shots, 10 puzzles, and 100+ new magic items and monsters. So a little bit more bang for the buck, just some random stuff for your game. Good stuff to have. As a GM, I know sometimes I'm always at a loss for, crap, what am I going to do tonight? I'm actually playing. I don't get to play too often. I'm usually the GM. I'm getting ready to run, starting in July, Realms of Tyranoth. If you haven't seen my review on this, go back and check it out in the archives there. I really dig this. It's high fantasy. It's set in Fantasy Flight's Rune Wars, or Manara is their world, and it uses the funny dice, which I don't mind. I have a bunch of the Star Wars dice, so this works out well for me because they're pretty much the same. But just and I can use some of these magic items and stuff in here in my Realms of Tyranoth, and I actually can tell you right now, I'm going to use the adventure in here, Dromar's Tomb, for the initial adventure for Realms of Tyranoth because it's pretty generic. I mean, it says kobolds and stuff, which I have monsters in Tyranoth that will work just the same in that adventure. So getting, use out of the book right off the adventure. Uh, you get an NPC in this adventure, go straight through it. I mean, some of the bad things they fight right off the bat is some skeletons. He does a really good job on the adventure of telling you the average party level or the APL, and then you go from there. So he's giving you the APL, which is based on whatever your party is, and then you go from there. So very much fluid, very easy to deal with. This is a simple run through a dungeon adventure, get done with it in one night. Probably can get 2 adventures in, but I think it's perfect, and it gives them some really cool magical items at the end of the scenario, at the end of this little dungeon crawl. And one being a great axe of ethereal flames, or the chalice of harmony. You can give them either one, or you can give them both. I'm probably going to give them both because I think in my game these both have a use as I'm thinking of my scenarios and stuff that I'm going to run for these guys. So I mean, already the book's paid for itself just with that ability. Chupa says he's not a 5e fan, but he loves the channel. Thank you, Chupa. I appreciate it, man. I do this for fun, and obviously, if anything I say or show you guys helps you out, then so much the better. I noticed there's not a lot of, and actually, James from Feral Games Inc. had pointed this out. Hey, Brian, welcome. Oh, Brian says he's been running Genesis. Brian, are you running stock Genesis, or are you running Realms of Tyranoth? Let me know. I'd love to, and we can talk sometimes because I like them both. I would love to use Genesis to run like a Mindjammer. Mindjammer is a very cool setting. Unfortunately, it uses the Fate system, and I'm not a huge fan of the Fate system. So being able to convert it over to Genesis would be phenomenal, in my opinion. I'm waiting because I think the next book for Genesis is going to be Twilight Imperium, at which point I can't wait to get that book. So yeah. So any questions or comments from the 3 guys that are online about Dungeon Master's Toolkit? Like I said, just the amount of stuff that you can use in here, and Chupa or Brian, even though you're not a 5e fan, just these charts alone are going to be awesome for your other games if you run any kind of fantasy game. Dungeon Crawl Classic, if you're a fan of Dungeon Crawl Classic, I don't think the adventures and the dungeons would be cool. The beneficial and detrimental charts, I'm not quite, I mean, you could make them work, but I don't think DCC needs it because it has enough of that built into it already. Let's see what Brian says. Just hacking some Cyberpunk Modern, ripping off some old adventures I have from, and it didn't come out. I'm assuming from the old would send PDFs, but I know you don't like. Hey, James, you can send me whatever PDFs you want, brother. I move into my new house this week, hopefully Thursday after July 4th. Today is my wife's birthday. So I want to say a shout out to my wife, Vonda. Happy birthday. I love you very much. She puts up with all this tomfoolery. And hey, James, also you don't have to send PDFs. You can just send cash. I included my PayPal. PayPal is a new feature called Pay Me, and it's payme.paypal, I think / John Polak, Mr. Mean John Polak. There'll be a link in the video here if you want to send me a little cash donation or whatever. It wouldn't hurt. Let me tell you, I'm unemployed right now, so anything I can do to bring some money in is awesome. I have to give a crazy shout out to the Veterans Administration here in Duluth. They are helping us get into a rental house, and they've put us up in this swanky Econo Lodge hotel for the last 2 weeks, for last week and most of this week. Hopefully we get to move into our new house on Thursday. So I'll have all my game books, and I'll set up my recording and all my stuff, and it'll be super awesome. And thank you, Chupa. I will let her know that an anonymous person from the interwebs tells her happy birthday. She'll get a kick out of that. She doesn't get all of this. My wife is not a gamer, but she's super awesome, and she puts up with all my shit. So, and then back to James, send me those PDFs, dude. I want Ghost Ops. I just didn't have the money to he wishes he had spare cash. Well, if you had spare cash, you wouldn't be doing this, would you? I appreciate it, James. You're always a beacon of light there in sometimes otherwise dark environment that I live in, and I appreciate it. Great reviews would help. Well, as soon as you send me a copy of the RPG in PDF, I don't want you to spend money to send me stuff from overseas. That's crazy expensive, and that defeats the purpose of trying to make money. So send me a PDF, and of course, I'll get a review up, and I'll probably would like to also get you on the channel to talk about it now that it's actually in the wild. Let's talk offline and see what we can do to get another video going. My wife is off half a day tomorrow for the 4th of July. And then Wednesday, obviously, is 4th of July. I won't be posting a video. Thursday, I plan to be moving into my new house, so I probably will be radio silent until early next week. And it's going to take me a day or two to get all my gears, set up and out of storage. In fact, when I'm done with this video, hey-o, Radek, I have to start trying to square away some movers and get all that fun stuff squared away. So lots and lots of stuff going on here on the channel. I hope once I get into the house and get situated, I'll be able to bring you guys some more quality reviews. The next review coming is going to be Legends of the Five Rings, Secrets of the Empire, Volume 2. If you haven't checked out the service Miniature Market or GameNerds.com, I highly recommend you check both of those out. They are a phenomenal service. If you live in an area where you don't have a local game store or you don't have access to Amazon Prime, hard to believe, but there are some places. Go check out Game Nerds with a Z, NERDZ.com or miniaturemarket.com. The cool thing is for every dollar you spend, you get a penny. And that, believe it or not, it stacks up after time. And then you can use that to pay for shipping. You can use it to pay for product. And they have pretty decent discounts on a lot of stuff. So, if you need to pick up your D&D books or you want to pick up, Realms of Tyrnoth, I think this book is retailing for $50, $49.95. I got it off of miniaturemarket.com for like $39, so $10 off. And then I combined it with something else because I believe at the time they were having a special. Anything over $50 was free shipping. So there you go. You made your money. Now, Amazon Prime is pretty awesome, and it's kind of hard to beat, but you don't get anything back for Amazon Prime. You don't get any points. You don't get any cash back or anything like that I'm aware of. So that's why I use Miniature Market. If I want it ASAP, I go through Amazon Prime. But if it's a mass-produced book, like anything from Fantasy Flight, WotC, Privateer Press, Iron Kingdoms RPG, I'm a big fan of that. Any of those books you can get through either Game Nerds or Miniature Market. And like I said, pretty awesome customer service. And they're pretty quick on their shipping and stuff. And like I said, sometimes if you do over $100 or $50, it's free shipping. So it's a win-win. So I see a couple more people have jumped on the channel. Feel free to jump in the chat and say hi. We're talking about the Dungeon Master's Toolkit by Nezergal. This is a DM Guild publication, meaning this is a guy, Nezergal, who has produced this and gotten permission to post it up on the DM's Guild for Drive-Thru RPG. So it's somewhat licensed, not licensed, it's official D&D material. In other words, it's okay to use this in your D&D games. Whether or not it's official in the, adventures and stuff like that, I don't know. But okay, so sorry. It was my Veterans Administration liaison. She was letting me know about movers, and she gave me the information because I need to square away movers. So Radek G, welcome to the stream. I don't know if you're into D&D or you're into other stuff. We've got Feral Games Inc. is on here with us watching. And Tom Allison, my good Grumpy Cat Tom. Thanks for watching, Tom. He says, yay, movers. Yeah, because movers are so much fun. And Radek's into D&D and other stuff with sticking his tongue out at me. Radek, I don't know you that well, dude. Why are you going to stick your tongue out at me? It's cool, man. D&D is obviously tried and true. You can't go wrong. I'm into a lot of other games, but here in Duluth, Minnesota, where I live, D&D is king. I've been fighting for a month and a half now to get people to try Tyrnoth. I finally have 3 whole players. I met them in my local D&D group that I'm playing in. that I just played last week, and it's a big game. There's six players, a seventh NPC that's tagging along with the group that the GM is running. So for me, that's a big group for D&D. I like to keep my D&D games down to 3 or 4 players, but I'm not the GM. I get to play, and at least it's a gaming fix. And James, I will after the stream, and then we'll go from there, and I'll be in touch with you. So what's in here for those that are just tuning in? My friend Thomas, who's tuned in, he's a GM as well. I think he runs D&D every so often. He's more of a 13th Age fan. I like 13th Age. I just don't like the way they do the skills. Tom, this is a good book, man. I think you'd like it. Right now, at the top of the chat, there is a link to the Drive-Thru RPG DMs Guild. That gives a link to this. It's pay what you want, so you can actually put 0 in there if you're on a tight budget. I just happen to, for those that don't know, here in Duluth, they have a company called CSL Plasma, and what they do is it takes about an hour and a half. They pay you $33. There's all kinds of bonuses and things that go on, how many times you go, and your 7th time and your 8th time and blah, blah, blah. But basically you donate your plasma cells, and they return your red blood cells to you, and they pay you. And they use that plasma to make drugs and to help treat people with certain diseases and stuff. So it's the only money I got coming in right now, and I still want to buy my hobbies and stuff. So that's how I've been paying for my hobbies. So that's how I bought this. So those of you that say, why the hell should I give you money? You're just going out and spending it on game books. Yes, I am, to bring you these videos. Internet's going to cost me money. I got to maintain my equipment and all that fun stuff. So I'd like to get a better camera. Right now I'm using the camera on my Mac. This is a MacBook Pro Retina edition. It's pretty spiffy. I think the image looks pretty good. And then I do the YouTube live. I am part of the Nerds International Network. But unfortunately, rendering the videos and everything is a pain in the ass. And it takes, if the video runs over 30 minutes, it's 45 minutes to an hour to render the video and then upload it to YouTube, where if I just do these live sessions, it's immediately, and I don't have to do anything complex. It's just click a button and go. It's that simple. So that's why I haven't been doing the Nerds International videos where you see the logo and it's nerds. And all that fun stuff. I love all my brothers out there at Nerds International. Peace and prosperity to you guys. But this is just far easier for me. And I'm working out of a hotel room. I don't have my microphone. I don't have my camera. I don't have my software, my mixing software and everything. So it's a pain in the ass. And to be honest, the Mac just makes it easy with YouTube. And you can do the same process on a PC. Just upload it. So that being said, this would work for any game. This would work for 13th Age. This would work for DCC, Pathfinder. The bonuses in here are very similar, and the information is generic enough. You could use it in Pathfinder, especially the random charts and everything in the dungeons. There's a bunch of these in there. Some random dungeons you could populate. So if you're stuck for an adventure and you're running Pathfinder, boom, there you go. Like I said, the book is hardback, decent quality. Paid about $25, $29. I don't quite remember. I think it's worth it. For me, it's worth it. Your mileage may vary, as the old saying goes. But I just wanted to give a shout out to this guy. James over at Feral Games Inc. asked, would it work for the upcoming Wrath Recon 5th edition setting? Yes, sir, it would. Because again, generic dungeons, riddles, Wrath Recon is basically a D&D or a fantasy setting that is almost like a military setting in a fantasy environment. If you've ever read, I don't remember the author's name, but he wrote a book called Orcs. And it was about a dragon who had cursed his horde that said, you become what you take. And this evil wizard and his orcs assault this dragon and take everything. And of course, one of the things the dragon had hoarded was a whole bunch of U.S. Army stuff. He had created a portal to our dimension and had taken a bunch of stuff. And so the orcs go in there and they take it. So of course the orcs become army men because the treasure is cursed. So it's pretty cool. Wraith Recon is kind of that idea. And yeah, James, this would totally work for Wraith Recon. Just the generic dungeons alone. And the adventures again, Wraith Recon is just another fantasy setting, except it's more of a military thing. So it would be easy enough to tweak these adventures in here because they're very generic. They're not extremely detailed adventures. They're bare bones, just enough to get for an evening's play. So I think this would work really well with Wraith Recon or any other generic DCC. Savage Worlds, this would work as well because you do a one shot. Savage Worlds has this thing, they do one sheets, which is a simple adventure for an evening's play, and this would totally. James says, once I have written it, he laughs. Yeah, you need to get on that, brother. Not that you don't have a ton of other things. So for guys like Thomas, my friend Thomas Chupa, this would be good stuff. But if you're just looking for a generic source of information, this I think would be a solid resource for you. And, if nothing else, it'll give you plenty of stuff to do. And there's the back. You can freeze this on YouTube later and read it if you want to read it for yourself. Like I said, just tons of good things. There's like the scraps of instruction. This is a riddle. So, and then, there's all the charts and everything. Looks like my chemistry homework from back in high school. Yeah, $20, Thomas, for a print copy. Yeah, that's what it was. It was 20. So excuse me, guys, I was wrong. Yeah, you can get this one. The other two are not available as print on demand because I think they're newer and they don't have as many. And I think Drive Through RPG has you have to have X amount of copies sold before they'll make it for print. So obviously with over 40,000 downloads, this one qualified. The other two books, which I'm probably going to pick up, I'll probably print them out and spiral bound them into one tome, and then I'll have them together. I think that would be more than enough information, and it would assuage all my needs for gaming stuff. I'm gonna all that fun stuff. So that covers that. Yeah, for a print copy for $20, Thomas, that's not bad. Like I said, it's just glued in there though. So, there's the spine. And when you open it up, you can see, you can see right through it. Let me get it up there. There's not enough light here, but you can see right through that. So the spine is not glued in, only the pages are. So be careful with it. A little bit of wear and tear. It is going to eventually come apart, but it seems to be glued in there pretty solid. And like I said, the page, it's on thick paper. It's going to hold up for a while. I think for $20, it is well worth what you paid for it, as well as the wealth of information that's in there. Just those random D100 charts for minor, marginal. What was it? Minor. Can't even remember now. So lesser beneficial, medium beneficial, major beneficial, and legendary beneficial. So I mean, just some super awesome stuff. Let's see if I can find. So D100. Let's just say 54. You rolled a 54 on your D100. While attuned to this item, you may use your bonus action to mark an enemy for 1 minute. While marked, you have advantage on all attacks rolled against that target, and your attacks deal an additional 3d6 damage. Attacks against any other enemies are made with disadvantage. This mark is only removed after 1 minute or when the marked target dies, and you may only have one target marked at a time. So it's kind of like Hex, except that it does 3d6 instead of an extra 1d6, which I think Hex is also necrotic damage. So that's pretty freaking awesome. An extra 3d6 damage. Well, that'd be really something cool for a paladin. You could put that on a paladin's weapon, and give it to them, and boom, there you go. For the detrimental stuff, for just a random detrimental, legendary detrimental. Let's say you rolled. Oh, let's go big. Let's say you rolled a 93. Oh, okay. This is nice. This is something I would inflict on Thomas because I'm that kind of guy. Whenever you make a roll with disadvantage, roll 3 dice and you must take the lowest result. How horrible is that? That's pretty gnarly. Let's see, one more. While attuned to this item, you and all allies within 50 feet of you are considered to be under the effects of a Bane spell during your first encounter of the day. Oh, I don't remember what Bane does off the top of my head, but I believe it probably gives you something like disadvantage and and that's probably not good. So for your first encounter, so hopefully you don't run into like a big dragon or something on your first encounter of the day, because you're fucked. Um, any other questions anybody else has about Dungeon Master's Toolkit? I just wanted to pop out a video and let everybody know I'm still alive. I'm going to include a link to my Pay Me account for PayPal if you feel generous to send a little bit of cash my way to help defray the cost of keeping this channel going. That would be awesome. Obviously, no means do you have to. If you're also a game publisher, or you know a game publisher and you want your product reviewed, if you're an aspiring game designer, and you want an honest, fair review, I'm more than happy to do that. And as always, like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And, share it with your friends. Hey, I know this goofy guy does videos, and the rock's there. And, help build my subscriber base. I can't do monetization on my YouTube channel until I get over 1,000 subscribers. I'm just short of 400 right now. I'm like at 379, I think. So like and subscribe, tell your friends. It helps me out a lot. Once I get moved, I'll have a lot more videos coming, hopefully 1 or 2 a week, which would be awesome. I have a huge library of gaming books, so I definitely want to get through and get some of those on camera. And I want to get, I'm going to have Daniel Fox from Zweihander is going to be on the channel. I'm going to get Mr. James from James Gantry from Feral Games Inc. back on the channel. I'm even going to try and see if I can get not Monty Cook. I can't think of his name now. What is his name? Give me a second here, guys. Bear with me. I'm not that smart. Matt Colville. I'm going to try and see if I can get Matt Colville. I know he's got a lot going on right now with his own channel, and he's going through a Kickstarter right now. That's I think it's already funded, and it's in the production stage right now. And but I'd like to see if he'd be nice enough to come on the channel. I try to get John Wick on the channel. I'm sure he would do it. He's a good friend of mine, so that would be awesome. John Wick just successfully kickstarted. I think it was the highest kickstarted RPG ever so far for 7th Sea. I didn't pick it up because I had no interest in it. I don't like the way they changed the mechanics. I like the original 7th Sea, which I have all of the books on PDF, and I have the Dungeon Master's book and the Player's Handbook physical copies. James from Feral Games Inc. says interviews are always good and it keeps the channel varied. Yes, and I pride myself on my channel being one that looks at lesser known games. One of the first games I think the very first game I reviewed, going back, man, because I've got over got 170 videos up now. I got like 170 videos up right now. I think the very first game I did when I started my channel was Dungeon Crawl Classic, because it's near and dear to my heart. My friend Thomas says, is 7th Sea the game where you can only be killed by a named NPC? Yes, it is. There are NPC mooks, and they can't really kill you unless the GM spends the equivalent of a Benny. I forgot what they're called in the 7th Sea game, a doubloon. Their story points, I believe, is what he calls them, and the GM would have to spend one of those, and the GM gets they go back and forth, kind of like force points in Star Wars, or story points in Realms of Tyranoth. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. You can only be killed by a named NPC or the main villain. The minor guys just knock you out and leave you for dead, or just total jerks about it and strip you and take all your good stuff and then leave. So that's about that. But yeah, I could probably try and get John Wick on the channel. That would be awesome to do a YouTube or a Hangout, Google Hangout with him, and let him ramble on about his stuff. The guy is a prolific writer. He can spit some material out. And he's a fun guy to talk to. So he's very energetic. So that might not actually be a possibility. I might call in that favor and see if I can get Mr. John Wick on there. There's a number of other smaller games out there that, if you guys don't know about, you should look at them. The TAPM system, TAPM, which of course I don't remember the the acronym, but Biogenesis is his game, and that's from Mr. Bear. I had him on the channel. He was the second game designer I had on the channel, and super nice guy, just awesome. He's just I can't say enough nice things about him. I had the guys on from Indie as well. If you haven't seen that interview, go check that out. It's Never Dark Enough. They have a RPG coming out called Shattered, which is this way in the future where the world goes to shit, and there's several different genetic variations of humans, and there's mechanical life forms. There's a plant life form. It's pretty cool. They look like big mushrooms. It's pretty awesome. I mean, there's just a ton of stuff. And then, of course, Parlor Games. They used to formerly be Cracked Monocle. Those guys did a kind of not a steampunk, but a steam fantasy RPG, which right now the name escapes me because I'm stupid. But they've got a new game. Oh, Tephra, the steam fantasy game. Which, if you haven't seen that one, it's a very cool game. It uses D12s. And it's one die, and that die tells you everything you need to know. So it's pretty awesome. It's one I recommend. I've done a review of it, and I've had the gentleman from Tephra on there, and he's rebranded his company to call Parlor, and they're coming out with a new RPG, Retroscape, which looks pretty cool. Kind of a steam fantasy game as well. Don't know much about it. I don't think the Kickstarter's launched, but yeah, I've had a couple people on the channel. I'm going to get Daniel Fox. Like I said, he's already agreed. I would like to get Sean Gomes on. He's the guy who did Uncharted Worlds, which is a Powered by the Apocalypse game. So I'd like to get him on the channel as well. And he said he would come on the channel. It's just we haven't been able to line up our schedules. Daniel Fox from Zweihander, unfortunately, was in a really bad car accident a couple weeks ago. So I think he's still convalescing. He may be up and about. I'm not sure. Zweihander is an homage to Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. It's a monster book. It's yay thick, 600, almost 700 pages, I believe. You can get it on Drive-Thru RPG. It's totally worth it if you're a fan of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Cubicle 7 is redoing it. They're going back to first and second edition. They have made some minor tweaks to the mechanics. They've been posting it, so go check out their website. I hope they get one of those guys on the channel as well to talk about Warhammer, because Warhammer is one of those games. If you're in my age bracket, you probably played it when you were younger. If you were burnt out on AD&D, you went and played Warhammer. It was just that was the optional game. There was no other game really. GURPS. You could play GURPS. GURPS was another phenomenal one. Still a huge fan of GURPS. I own all of the GURPS PDFs, and I own quite a bit of the fourth edition hardbacks because I really like the way they did them. So that really covers, I think, about everything. The channel, like I said, will get some more frequent videos here real soon. In the next couple of weeks. This week, like I said, we're going to go Radio Dark. Just because of the moving and everything is going to get above. But I'll get this posted on YouTube and on all the other channels on Google Plus and on Facebook. And so those people who didn't get to see it, show it to your friends. Hey, I know this nerdy guy. He does these videos. Check him out. I'm going to do an afterplay report of Tyrannoth when I get ready to run that. I think that's going to be July 18th or somewhere thereabouts. So anyway, guys, unless anybody's got some burning questions they want answered, I'm gonna call it a video, and we'll get it uploaded. And I thank everybody for being in the chats. All 5 of you. We're down to 4 now. Somebody bailed, which is okay. I just posted 5 minutes before I posted this saying I was going to be online. So I'm going to try to maybe get a better schedule. Maybe after the move, I'll try to create a schedule where I'm online at this time for the foreseeable future. And that way people can adjust their schedules. Most people are at work, from 9 to 5 or 8 to 5. So I know it's kind of hard, but right now I'm unemployed and I have my son after daycare with my wife. And so that's family time. So I'd like to, if I can do these videos in the middle of the day, that's better for me. But I realize some people can't tune in, and so that's going to hurt the viewership. But I'll still upload the videos to YouTube so people can watch them at their leisure. So again, this is Mr. Mean. I'm going over Dungeon Master Toolkit. You can buy this on DriveThruRPG or DM's Guild. $20. My friend Thomas there was able to pull up the price. Housekeeping. What is housekeeping? I don't know what you mean by that, Thomas. And Chupa says, thanks, man. Happy gaming to all. Yep. Thank you, Chupa. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, man. Thomas, what do you mean by housekeeping? You're in a hotel room. Oh, no, you're knocking on the door. Housekeeping, fluff your pillows. Yeah. Again, for those that don't know, somebody just tuned in. Thank you, whoever you are. Fell kind of flat. Well, I didn't get the joke. I'm sorry, Thomas. I get it now. The VA, I'm a veteran of Desert Storm and Grenada. When that whole fiasco went down, my unit was shipped over there to help deal with that situation. So I'm entitled to veterans benefits, and one of them is here in Duluth. They pride themselves on being like some of the best VA services available. Oh, Chupa was in Desert Storm as well. Thanks, man. I was part of the 579th Engineer Battalion. I took out a bridge over there in Kuwait. I can tell you for a fact, T-72s don't float, just so you know. But Thomas says he was in Operation Fart Storm. It's none of you know Thomas, but if you knew Thomas like I knew Thomas, field artillery. All right, Trooper, good man. I was 12 Bravo combat engineer. I blew things up for a living. Oddly enough, not a big market for that in the civilian sector. Thomas can clear a room. I mean, Thomas is when the zombie apocalypse happens. I want Thomas in my Quonset hut because the zombies aren't going to come in. That stench is going to be too bad. So I know we'll survive. But yeah, the VA is helping me out. A big shout out to those guys. When I get back on my feet and I'm able to donate, I normally donate to Wounded Warriors. I try to give a little bit of my paycheck to Wounded Warriors because they do a great job. But I think I'm going to have to give some money to MACV. That is the local Veterans Administration here in Duluth, and they're helping me get on my feet. So it's a wonderful, awesome thing. So I can't say enough kind things about those people. I don't want to say any names in case they don't want to be on air, but it's an organization here in Duluth, and the rest of the country looks at Duluth to see how they do it because they're kind of they've set the precedents for how the services should be managed, and it's good to know. And I believe I saw on the news yesterday or day before that President Trump had signed another $56 million to veterans assistance, and that's awesome because I hate seeing veterans on the street, man. It sucks. These guys went to fight for our country and give us the freedoms that we enjoy, whether you agree with the war effort or not. You have that right, and for these people to be living in the streets is a tragedy. It's horrible. So support your local Veterans Administration if you can, even more so than supporting me. I'd rather you give that money to the veterans. But if you feel like you want to support my channel as well, hey, I won't say no. So anyway, we're going to wrap this up. I don't even know how long we've been babbling for. 53 minutes, so almost an hour now. So wow, guys. You've kept me engaged for an hour. Kudos to you guys. As always, Mr. Mean says, be nice, live well and prosper. And check this out. If you guys haven't had a chance to check it out, PDF is pay what you want. The hardback is $20. Takes about a week to get to you. Check it out if you can. I think it's worth it. I think for $20, I mean, even to pay what you want, if you're okay with PDF and you have access to a laser jet or you have a good inkjet, you don't mind printing 111 pages off, 113 pages if you do the covers, for $5 if that's what you want to donate. I mean, it's pay what you want, so you could donate a penny. I recommend you donate a little more, but hey, it's very cool that I was able to get this, and I'm very happy that I picked it up. I'm going to use it, like I said, in my Realms of Terranoth game. And the starting adventure is actually a really cool adventure, and I think it'll work well. So, as always, peace and hair grease, and be nice. I'm going to end the stream unless anybody has any questions about the book or anything like that, or anything in general about the channel. Mr. Mean Speaks. Other than that, I can't babble anymore, guys. I'm out of stuff. So, as always, peace and hair grease, and Mr. Mean says, be nice. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.